Hey, you know what, a big bad black sheep, hot a fire, not a pretender or liar. And this is a short reasoning. Now, I'm here to talk about, sexuality, homosexuality. Because people will try to use that as a way to deflect from certain topics, from certain problems. They will try to blame sexuality or homosexuals. So, yeah. Many times I've heard men, say that we women, we promote gay men and we rather to have them around. I personally can't relate with that. Yeah, I rather to be by myself. I don't have a problem, with homosexual men. And what I really understand about those men is that those men that know themselves and know that, okay, yes, they are homosexual and they accept that, somewhat have more respect for women than heterosexual men, right? Another pointer is this, and I have said this to my little brother, and he said it was true. I've said to him that I feel like the reason why most heterosexual men try to or hate homosexual men or try to be, discredited of them is not because of just morality, but of the fact that they fear being raped. Subconsciously, they have a fear of being raped because they know that in a psychological sense, a man being attracted to them puts them in risk of being raped. The chance is high of that man wanting to rape them. So therefore, they subconsciously know the nature of their own species. And when I said that to my little brother, he said that it's true because he himself fear being raped by a homosexual man. Yeah. Because he says that most of them don't have self-control. No, I can't speak for all homosexual men, but as I said, the ones that know themselves, they will even go as far as to go on to their own spiritual journey, right? And to just live life and to just be good to people, to develop their character. And some of them are not attracted to every heterosexual man because, for one, they themselves know that heterosexual men are not clean. Yeah? Now, to take this a little bit further, the other day I was coming from the market and it was, election time. I'm happy it's over now. I can wear my green tam in peace because, I wore it one time when it was election time and campaign I go on, and this brethren just see me and I say power for life, and I'm like, it's obvious that red and yellow is in my tongue also. It's not just green. But anyway, me coming from the market, and I took this taxi. And it was just weird because the way how this taxi driver was conversating with me at one point, you know, it's like he had watched a video of mine, you know. But with me, you know, being in the taxi with my mom, you know, and we started to reason about, you know, the election, and I was saying that, you know, campaigning is not just partying and, you know, celebrating. It is actually a ritual. And the two monuments in Jamaica that they had used, you know, the locations that they used for their campaign were not just by coincidence or for, you know, for space of revenue. But those two locations hold two conduits of power. You know, the clock towers in Jamaica, which are in Crossroad and Arfetry. So what we don't understand, like most people don't understand about architecture, it's not just for the design, you know, only, you know, or for the beauty of an environment. Because, you know, in esoteric knowledge, you understand that everything has a gender. And straight lines represent the masculine, and circle represent the feminine. Yeah. And I personally can know, you know, a building that involves in occult knowledge, you know, based off of the architecture that they use, you know, any business place. But yeah, these conduits of energy are used to siphon the energies of Jamaicans and to keep them in a time loop. So I was explaining that to him, and he was saying that, you know, he doesn't doubt it at all. So we prolonging the conversation till we reach to the point where we are talking about even people that are homeless or drug addicts, you know, and how they reach into that position. And he was saying that me, you know, he never really had any compassion, you know, because I was explaining that, you know, there's another way to look at it, because sometimes things happen in life that cause people to awaken from certain illusion, and it takes a lot of strength, yeah, to pull yourself, you know, out of that tower moment, that ego death, and to regain your sense of self. And the next thing, some people have such wonderful gifts and talents that this matrix doesn't support, that it affects their livelihood so much to the point that it causes them to fall off the grid in the matrix. So it's not necessarily to say that they are worthless or they did something wrong, or they're deserving of it. But sometimes these people are very talented, gifted people, right? Who just never really had a safe chance. Yeah. So we were prolonging the conversation now to truth and liberty, and how we should treat each other. And I was saying that each, religious group holds some form of truth, It's just that they may put it in a different way, a different analogy or ideology, whichever one. And he was saying that, okay, cool, I don't deal with religion. Yeah, you don't deal with religion. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, fine. So he was prolonging the conversation and saying that, we should live with the Almighty's truth. And I'm like, yeah, correct, we should. And we should know that truth for ourselves and tell ourselves that truth. And he was prolonging to say, he started to bring up even Jesus Christ and his disciples and all of that, and King David and all of them men, right? And I listened, yeah, and I agree and I disagree whenever, I hear something that resonates or is trying to derail me from what I know. So when he said what he said, I said, okay, but still, that is still religion. At the end of the day, you have to live your truth. And he was saying like, no, he said that, even though I say that, and I never said that at the time, so I was wondering, like, was he a person that had watched one of my videos, And I'm like, cool. He was bringing up men and women and how that is a truth. And me might not agree with that, And I'm like, that is a program still, Because at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself, right? And tell yourself the truth about yourself. And me saying that, he went quiet because I can clearly see that he thinks that heterosexual relationship is the only truth and the only right way to live, right? And I am assuming that he doesn't even have a woman. But anyway, that is not my business. But me telling him that he has to tell himself the truth about himself, right? Made him went quiet and think. And I prolonged and said that you have to sit with yourself and tell yourself the truth and find that peace within yourself. And no woman and no man can give you that. Yeah. And him have to just sit with that, you know. Because him, at one point, he was trying to push on his ideology onto me, right? Now, some people would see how I dress, because I dress androgynous, you see, and they will instantly judge me and say that, oh, I'm a lesbian and I have a lot of girlfriends. Even men, like more men have come to me and told me that I should be promiscuous and I should use women, right? And I had to let them know that that's not who I am, you see. And that shows that men don't really have women, you know, at good grace at all. Because if you are encourage me to do that to other women, you know, it just shows the levels of their character, you see. But people will judge me, but my perspective, you see, that I hold, it's very personal. And I've had another reasoning where these two women, you know, at the same market were saying that the party that is, you know, in government right now has never sold out. And I had to correct her, and in her response she was like, I am young, I don't know anything. Yeah. And this is what I mean, that people are stuck in a time loop. They have amnesia. They don't remember anything. So I started to remind them, yeah, of the things that have happened, even incursion that have happened in the same marketplace, yeah, where so many people have died, yeah, whether they want to be guilty or innocent. So many people have suffered, not to mention even COVID. And not just COVID itself, the laws that were passed in COVID. Because in 2020, a lot of people don't even know this, but, you know, and some don't read. Reading is a powerful skill, yeah? Like the newspaper. I mean, you have false news, yes, but there's some ways that people hide things, and sometimes it's right in front of your face, you know, something like a newspaper. But at that time, I was reading the newspaper, and they were talking about the laws against, you know, little boys that has suffered from rape or sexual assault from men. And there has been a law that has been passed for men not to be, yeah, for men not to face the consequences of those actions. If they get 10 years, that's the least, not much, you know. And they will say that this government doesn't sell out. And then one of those ladies went further to pass the remarks that that's why so many Batman and Sodomite in Jamaica. One time I heard a brother say on TikTok, if homosexuals should come out and talk, yeah, Jamaica mash up. And I personally can tell you myself, yeah, that if I should tell you about some people that I know that are on the down low, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't look at them the same. See? Now, with me and my sexuality, I've reached a point where I think I'm asexual. Yeah? My attraction to women is a reverence. Deep reverence. My sexual organ is out the picture. Yeah? Because I know a lot of gay men that are much more smarter than straight men. They take the time out to learn about life and, you know, the things in their environment. And if you ever just look at a man for his sexuality, you know, that shows that you are more animalistic than him. You should look at the levels of his intelligence and character. Because I fear men that are down low more than homosexual men. Yeah. Down low men, down low women are far more dangerous. Yeah. Far more dangerous. And people should just be themselves. Yeah. Because the people, the men that and the women that can't be themselves, I highly see that their shadows leak out on others more than a person that is authentically themselves. See? Now, some people don't know how easy it is to get into politics. It's so easy. Yeah? Most politicians start from business. And some of those businesses were never legal. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Zine. People like to blame, you know, people for their sexuality, but let me elaborate more on that. Some of us are born with different gene expression, right? We never asked for it. It just so happened to happen. And through, you know, evolution, some of us learn how to transmute, yeah, and to integrate with our gene expression, yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you should really check who, you know, some people are, yeah, you will see that a lot of them are biased. Because the same lady that was passing the remarks about, you know, that's why so much Batman and Sodomite, take over Jamaica. One time she said to me that she feel like she would have deal with a woman, you know. So I don't really take human being serious because by nature I'm a bias, you know. And not many of y'all can be real with yourself and see say, you know, if you don't pay attention to yourself, yeah, you will automatically do some things, certain things, out of survival. Yeah. Yeah, it's natural for us to want to have sex. But it is a conscious decision not to. And to hold your energy and to use it for a higher purpose. And some people can never see that. They can only see my clothes and the way I dress and the way I express myself. They can never see or hear the words that come out of my mouth and really try to make sense of it, you know. But yeah, this is not a video for debate, you know. It's an open discussion. And sometimes me see some people are come under my comments with some remarks, some unintelligent remarks. And I don't pay no mind. Like, I really don't hold no space for ignorance. You know, if you go come with the attack, like, me I go just remove you and ignore you. You know, like, don't come under my videos with that. You see? Yeah. So just take care. You know, I hope this was insightful. Yeah.